Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer to learn more. See you this summer.
So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now, and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Welcome to Susan LoPresti Wellness Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, the go-to space for midlife and mature women who are ready to reclaim their health, boost their energy, and live long, vibrant, and purposeful lives. Each week, we dive deep into natural wellness, holistic healing, anti-aging strategies, and healthy lifestyle habits to help you feel your best physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Whether you're navigating menopause, working through chronic conditions, or simply wanting to age gracefully and intentionally, this show is your sanctuary for science-backed insights, powerful stories, and soul-nourishing inspiration. So if you're a woman, 40, 50, or older, looking to thrive in the next chapter of your life, you're in the right place. And today I have another very special guest, Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp, who is a biohacking expert, author, and speaker dedicated to helping high-achieving women in their 40s and beyond reclaim their energy, balance their hormones, and optimize their health naturally. With a background in chiropractic and certification from the Institute of Functional Medicine, Nathalie has spent nearly 3 decades empowering others through integrative wellness strategies that fit real life. Her 90-day Reboot and Optimize program helps professional women to cut through health confusion and take practical, science-backed steps towards lasting vitality. A former natural bodybuilder and a long-term wellness advocate, Nathalie shares her insights through keynotes, media appearances, and best-selling books like Hack Your Health Habits and SmartCuts, Biohack for Your Healthspan. And without further ado, Dr. Nathalie, thank you so much for being here with us today. I am so excited to begin this conversation with you.
Happy to be here, Susan.
Great. I have so many questions for you. The first thing that I wanted to ask you is, what inspired you to dedicate your career to biohacking and functional medicine? And if you could just give us a little bit of a definition about biohacking and functional medicine, that would be helpful as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think back in the days, it was definitely not called biohacking. So my journey started when I was actually probably 14. I became anorexic and I needed to find a way to heal myself and get myself healthy again. And back in the days, there was no Google or access to information. So I remember going to the library, plus I'm from a small town, so not a lot of resources. So I think that's really what got me intrigued for my own self. But then as I was digging deeper and discovering all about health, it seems like I haven't stopped learning since then. So, and then to answer your question about the definition of biohacking, I think it might have a bit of a negative connotation to hear the word hacking because we think of computer, but to me, hacking is just a shortcut or a better, efficient way to do something. So I know Dave Asprey is the father of biohacking, and his definitions probably, I know is different than mine, but for me, as a woman, past my 50s, it's all about leveraging tools and basic techniques, with sleep. And, sometimes it's not just the fancy tools and devices that we can use for biohacking, but using many of them, stacking them, and trying to be as efficient as I can, because I love a lot of things, and thankfully I love exercising, but I don't want to spend 2 hours at the gym every day, because life happens and we want to do other things. So for me, biohacking is just to be smart about how we do things and follow our physiology to leverage how to do things more efficiently. And, to segue into the functional medicine aspect, obviously this did not exist a long time ago, but as I, pursue my own learning, it really drove me towards a more functional medicine approach. And as a chiropractor from my formal training, it just made sense for me to dig deeper, because we need to go to the cause of something, not just, put a band-aid on it, but find the source of the issues and what we can do about it.
Right. So you mentioned that you're over 50, and I'm noticing, and you said about exercise, I'm noticing the strength in your arms.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Oh, thank you.
And you don't see that a lot in a woman that's over 50. And this is like off topic right now, but I'm sure that exercise
Oh,
is a
huge
big part
component.
of,
Oh my
yes.
God. Exercise and strength training has been a huge component of my life. And funny enough, I competed in natural bodybuilding in my early 30s, and people may think, wow, geez, if you had a eating disorder, was that the smartest thing to do? And funny enough, doing that really changed my relationship with food in a better way. That I saw food as fuel, I saw food as something that my body needed to perform. And having back in the days, it was like five meals a day when you competed in natural bodybuilding and so forth. But it gave me the structure, and it really changed my relationship with food. And I just love exercise, and I love particularly strength training. And it is such a overlooked aspect for women, because we want to tone, we don't want to become big. Well, we won't. As women, we don't have the level of testosterone. But if there is one longevity hack that I want to give the ladies, is work on keeping, even improving your muscle mass. Our bone density decreases, our muscle mass decrease as early as in our 30s, men and women for that matter. But if you can keep proper muscle mass, it helps for metabolic rate. You're going to not be, up and down with your blood sugar as much. It has so many huge benefits. So strength training, it would be, sleep, I think, is the best one in terms of, hacking and making sure, well, we've got the basic pillars of health, but strength training is another big component.
What would you recommend for a woman who's in her 50s listening to this and never did strength training? Just give us a little bit of a recommendation where she should start, as far as how many times a week, how many pounds should she start off with? Just give us a little bit of that.
I'm always a big fan of being coached to do the movement properly from the start. So if it's in your means and you have access to a personal trainer, you don't have to book like 50 sessions, but just get started with someone that will show you. Like I said, I'm a chiropractor by training. So for me, it's all about form and the proper movement, not just for, pain prevention, but just to make sure your body is moving properly. So get help by someone that can monitor your movement. And then 3 or 4 times a week, and it doesn't have to be a session of an hour. You can split your workout, upper body, lower body. You can split it in 3 potentially, but it's called resistance training for a reason. We need to resist. We need to resist the weight. So telling a woman how much weight to use is kind of hard, because everybody is so different. Start small, but build yourself up to lifting something that will give you that resistance. So you're challenging your muscle, and your muscle will grow, or at least you're going to keep your muscle mass.
Right. It's not only good for your body, but it's also good for brain health as well, to be
big
moving
time.
up.
Big time. Big time,
Yes.
big time.
I just had to mention that because I'm looking at you saying, wow, you look fantastic. And you said that you're over 50.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
how has that experience of being a bodybuilder, how has that shaped your approach to health and wellness today? Obviously, you continue with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's such a good question. And I think bodybuilding or marathon running or, whomever and whatever people are competing in, you get to a point and an age that you realize that if you're doing it for a challenge or you're doing it for fun, it's all good, but at the end of the day, any sports in excess is not good for the body, right?
Hmm.
So I before I turned 40 to run a marathon, and I did, but I'm like, do I really want to be pounding on my joints? I can run, but my biomechanic is not optimal. So I do know that I'm putting some stress on my knees and hips and so forth. So I'm
Yeah.
like, do I like it that much that I'm going to pound the pavement literally and put more stress on my hips and knees and potentially need replacement? I'm like, no, I don't like it that much. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is that anything in excess will be too much, right? So that's one thing that I've learned. Even though I was competing in bodybuilding, you look healthy, but the extreme that you have to put your body through, it's okay, for a few times, but it is putting a burden on the body. So to me, moderation, I think
Yes.
in life and everything in general too, that's one thing that I've learned, that, what, I did it for 5 years. I had enjoyed the experience, but I don't need to do this anymore. And funny enough, a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to join a Spartan run with a group, and I'm like, nah, I don't feel the need. So to me now, I work out to stay healthy. I work out to keep my muscle mass. I work out on the things that I enjoy, that bring me joy. And I don't see the need anymore anyway to push myself to levels that might be detrimental to my health, not improve it. So definitely I've done my share when I was in my 20s and
Yeah.
30s. But this is the change in mindset. And I have patients often that are still, competing in this and that, running marathon and so forth. And I often have the conversation with them, like, just why are you doing it? And do you, from a biomechanical point of view, is your mechanic of running so good that you're not putting stress on your knees and your hip? And if the answer is yes, and they love it, go ahead, right? But we need to assess all the activities that we do to make sure we're doing it for the right reasons.
Right, right. Great advice. I was a runner when
Are
I was,
you? Yeah.
yes, in my late 20s, I started and I ran up until I was about 50. And then I was developing back pain. So when I went to see my doctor, he said to me, I hate to disappoint you, but you need to give up your running shoes and you need to start walking instead. And that was so depressing for me. I
Mhm.
was like, oh my God. Because running gave me like a sense of freedom.
Of
It
course.
cleared
Yeah.
my head. It was so beautiful in
Yeah.
so many ways. But I accepted, okay, and I started walking instead. And in the beginning, I just felt like this is not doing anything for me. But
Yeah.
in reality, it's fine. And now I've accepted it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to change.
Yeah. And to add to that, I've added walking with a 40 pounds weighted vest. Well, you may want to try
Oh,
adding that, maybe not 40. I don't know how much you weigh, but just like I tell you, after I come back, I have a hard time lifting my 40 pounds off of me.
that's
So
great
now it's like,
advice.
okay, so that's what I mean by biohacking. I'm outside, I'm getting some sun, I'm moving, I'm adding weight on my system, so a bit of strength training kind of aspect. I'm in a zone 2 cardiovascular thing and then area, and then I might be listening to a podcast. So to me, that's biohacking. I'm in nature, walking in trails and so forth. So I'm stacking a few things together, and I love it. I literally love it, because like you, if you go from running to walking, you're like, wow, okay, yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
But adding different things like that, or even climbing a hill with that 40-pound vest could be, another challenge. So I think I hate for people to say we accepted it. I think we just have to think is we're modifying. We're just modifying things, and there's ways to still get, your adrenaline or your endorphin going and feel accomplished and satisfied from doing that activity.
Yes, great advice. So, what are some of the biggest health challenges that women face in midlife that biohacking strategies can help them to address?
Yes, so I think we already talked about one is strength training. So
Yes.
to really, really focus on that. And in connection with this is our protein intake. I've never been a big fan, probably because of where I'm coming from, of counting calories. I mean, I'm sure I did at some point, but I focus on counting my grams of protein per day. That's my only macro that I'm really counting. So if I weigh 140 pounds, I'm trying to at least achieve 120 grams of protein per day. I'm very active. My work is active. I'm not sitting. So that's my goal. So I'll look at my day and say, okay, how much protein have I had so far? And just to keep it simple, like closed fist is let's say it's a chicken breast of that size, about 20-25 grams of protein. So I plan my day looking at my protein intake. And sometime I don't achieve my goal. I'm like, okay, well, I really need to do better tomorrow. Or I'll take a protein shake to supplements because it's easy to get, 25, 30 grams of protein. So keeping your muscle mass and strength training and a proper intake of protein can really, really go a long way. And that's one thing when I do a nutrition assessment with my patient, I ask them to write down everything they eat for a week. And right away I can spot, oh my God, you're barely getting 30, 40 grams of protein, right? Now, sure, there's vegetarian sources of protein, but they're less, right? So for the people that are vegetarian or vegan, like even more of a struggle for them to come up with the complete profile of the amino acids and so forth. But it's just really making sure you're focusing on your strength. And when I say strength too, like it could be exercise like dead hang. So you grab a bar at the park, a monkey bar, and you just try to hold on for as long as you can. The longer we can keep our grip strength, there's a direct correlation with longevity. So working out, oh yeah, it's huge. So, and then, even testing your grip strength with a dynamometer, you're supposed to be at a certain amount in order to, as a woman, to be in the normal range. So, integrating those things and really paying attention to our strength, being able to get up off the ground in a seated position, in the V-sit, and then just able to stand up without bracing yourself, right? So now that's balance, that hip flexibility, that's core. So those are tasks that, you could not do it and put your hand, but it's kind of forcing yourself to do this. Like another one that I force myself to do, if I put my socks on in the morning, I could sit, I have a bench, but I'm like, no, I don't want to lose my balance. So here I am standing on one leg, putting my socks on and so forth. So it's all the things that we can do to keep our proprioception, keep our balance, keep our strength, and be in cognition that as we lose the ability of doing this, we almost have to train for these things now.
Yes. That's great advice as well, because most people will sit down, myself included. I'm going to try standing and doing it, but it just makes perfect sense. And as we're getting older, we also, lose our sense of balance a lot, which could lead to a fall, which could totally change the course of your life at that point.
Very much so.
All these little hacks could really make a very big difference in how you're aging, which I love that. And let's go into, can you explain hormone balance and how that ties into our energy, our mood, and also overall vitality? And I also want to touch on sleep, because I know sleep is also really important.
It's also so important. So let's talk about the hormone balance. I think when we say hormone, right away we think of estrogen, progesterone, our sex hormone, but there's a lot more hormones than just that. So I think we need to start with the stress hormone cortisol, right? So typically in our 30s, 40s, like it's career, it's family, it's go, go, go. And we usually have our adrenal glands, which produce the cortisol, working overtime and sometimes lacking sleep and so forth. So cortisol, we have is produced mostly by the adrenals. But point being is if we are stressed in our 30s and 40s, it is going to have an impact on our sex hormones because they're all intertwined. Like your cortisol, well, your cholesterol is the precursor of a lot of our hormones. Cortisol is part of that cascade, and estrogen and testosterone and progesterone. So there's something called the adrenal steal. It's stealing the building blocks for the other hormones. So that's one thing that I really see in the 30s and 40s. And then, making sure that you're nurturing your adrenals and that you're not burning the candle at both ends is going to go a long way with your sex hormone. And then there's the whole slew of, should I take bioidentical hormones or not? So this is so depending on the person, and I'm not an expert in hormones, but I think the women's health study of, I think it's 20, 30 years ago now, really scared the medical world about hormones. I remember, it must have been more than 20 years ago, because I remember my mom being on hormone and all of a sudden her doctor cut her, and it was just the poor woman was miserable and hot flashing and all of that stuff. So point being is the research was not done very, very well. And now we're starting to revisit all of this. So I would just really invite women to consult a naturopath or a functional medicine practitioner if they feel like their hormones are not right, because oftentimes they go to the traditional testing system and say, oh, your hormones are fine. You're tired. You're not feeling good. You have no sex drive, but you're fine. No, you're not fine. And how can you optimize them? Because it's about our brain health down the road. Unfortunately, my mom passed away of Alzheimer, and I just felt so helpless. And I'm really trying to put all the chances on my side with my lifestyle to decrease brain inflammation. So, we sometimes have to look at how am I feeling right now, but depending on your own health history, if you have a history of breast cancer or not, if you have a history of cardiovascular issues or not, then someone can make the recommendation to say, you know what, low dosage of bioidentical hormone would go a long way in your case. But again, I'm not here to say do or don't. It's just that we really shied away because we really got scared.
Yes.
And there's a lot of value in adding that just to age better. My goodness. Like I still have sometimes patients on my table and they're in their late 60 or even 70 and they're still having hot flashes. I'm like, this is not normal,
Oh,
right?
no.
And they learn to live with it. And I mean, we can, but what does it do to your brain? You know what I mean? Is it creating brain inflammation and it's going to lead to dementia? So I think we have a lot more resources out there, a lot more testing. There's saliva tests that you can do to look at your hormones and how your tissues are using your hormones. There's metabolite test little strip that you can pee on that will give you the downstream effect of your hormones, like the metabolite. So we have a lot more tools for us women to just sit there being told, suck it up, buttercup, it's what you have to do, right? So that's just my advice on hormone in general is find a practitioner near you that has a lot of experience with hormone and have them work with you to say, who are you? And do a full assessment and see, if this would be valuable or not to improve your quality of life now, but also your quality of life later.
Yes, absolutely. That was my experience when I was going through perimenopause and menopause, and I was seeing my doctors. They were saying, oh, it's perfectly normal to feel that way. And I just didn't want to accept that as my reality. And how long am I going to be feeling this way? Will it be a year? 2 years. So anyway, I did see a functional medicine doctor, and I was on bioidentical hormones for a good number of years, probably 7 years or so. And it completely changed my life for the better, the
And
quality of my life.
exactly. But to add to that, you could not just get on hormones and bioidentical hormone and have a crappy lifestyle, not sleep, not exercise.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like, you always have to go back to the pillar of your health, your sleep, your movement and exercise, your nutrition, detoxification. Like you can't, there's the saying, you can't outrun a bad diet or vice versa, right? Like they're all components of things that we need to have as the basis, as the pillar, and then you can start adding different layers of other things to help you. So that's why, like, I'm always a bit reluctant to give advice on one specific thing, because I don't know who I'm talking to and
Yes.
what issues they may have. If it's sleep that they're suffering for insomnia, and I always have, that would be the first thing that I will nail. Forget the hormones. Let's nail your sleep. Let's nail the inflammation, because you may take hormone, but they won't be absorbed by your cell if your cells are inflamed, right? So that's why functional medicine is so fantastic and interesting, because we have to look at the whole person.
Yes. Yes. Well, at the time that I went to this functional medicine doctor, I found out that I had celiac disease, which was completely overlooked by so many other doctors. I was
Wow.
getting migraine headaches all the time. I was totally inflamed, aches and pains everywhere. And I was being told a woman my age is perfectly normal to be feeling like that. And I could not accept that.
Yeah.
And it changed the whole course of my life. It really did.
Well, good for you to want to come up with solution, as opposed to,
Yes.
just accepting it without looking deeper into
Yes.
other resources.
So let's go and talk about sleep. And also, I'd love to talk about brain health as well, because
Yeah.
you mentioned that your own mom passed from
Yes.
Alzheimer's. It runs in my family, and I actually test positive for the gene. So I do everything that I can to.
Yeah, you're referring to the ApoE4?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, oh my goodness, sleep. It is so crucial for us to sleep. And I know that it seems pretty obvious, but one of the things that we didn't have before are sleep trackers. And I know myself that I thought I slept enough. I never was one to have insomnia or anything. But then I bought a device to track my sleep, and it's like, wow, I am not getting enough sleep. I might have been in bed for 7 hours or 7.5 hours, but I was barely getting 6 hours. So, not the best and the greatest. So since it's probably been 6 or 7 years that I've been tracking my sleep, and it's such a great tool, so you can pay attention. What did I do different last night that I didn't sleep properly?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me for a second. Of course, when we record, there's got to be construction next door to you, right? Apologize for that. So I love those tools, because they really help you focus on your habits, and then you can tweak. So, I know myself, if I eat a heavy meal, then my sleep will be impacted. If I forgot to take, I have a series of supplement that I take before bed, it will be impacted. If I was exposed to too much bright light before I went to bed, if I didn't wind down with red light, and I didn't have my usual wind down routine, it will be affected. If I didn't go out maybe in the morning to get some fresh sunlight in my eyes to start my day. So you can start tuning in more into your habits to say, okay, what is impacting my sleep? Obviously, stress is a huge one, right? Like if you've had a busy day, you might fall asleep okay, but 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, cortisol is peaking, and boom, here you go. Or your blood sugar is dipping at 2 or 3, and then you're waking up. So it's to make sure that I know myself, I need a good protein and a good fat, close enough to bedtime, but not too close. So, I'm maintaining good blood sugar, and it's not decreasing. So sleep is so crucial. Sleep is when we detoxify. The lymphatic system, which is the brain lymphatic system, works when we're sleeping. So sleep is a huge pillar. And I think, unfortunately, we have too many things in our bedroom that disturb us, right? Like for people that have TV, for people that sleep beside their phones, it's easy, myself included, to just grab your phone and hop on Facebook and stroll. It's like, oh my goodness, it's been half an hour. Yeah, you might have it on the light setting for the evening, but still, what does it do to your brain, to your mind? Because you might have seen things that are a bit disturbing, right? So that sleep hygiene, is very important. Mouth taping, if you breathe through your mouth at night, it's something that you can do. I know that's part of my routine, my tape and my eye mask, because I like to have a very dark room. Cell phone is in the bathroom, not in my bedroom. If I am going to read on my iPad, because I need to, I have those big, huge red light, red shade glasses to try to minimize, what's getting into my eyes. So it's really honoring and making your nighttime routine like something serious. Some people like to take a warm bath before they go to bed, just whatever makes you unwind, whatever makes you makes your quality of sleep improve. And by tracking it, I think it's with the technology that we have, it's important. But on that note, with the watches, then during the day or even at night, you're getting texts and messages, and that dopamine hit all the time. So there's a fine line with using technology that it's taking over your life versus using technology to harness some information that will help you tweak a certain thing. So I'm not a big fan of those watch for that purpose, because people are constantly being connected to the world. And when you're sleeping, it's like, oh no, let's disconnect. So
Absolutely. I want to go back. You mentioned about eating a protein in the evening. So what do you recommend?
My go-to is usually a boiled egg. So you've got a good fat, a good protein. So we always have boiled eggs in the fridge, and I'll just grab one. Sometime I'll have a protein shake, but not too late, because then I need to go to the bathroom because it was liquid. Sometime I make myself kind of a more thick protein shake, so a lot less water, kind of like a chocolate pudding. You could do almonds, you could do like a good protein and a bit of a fat is what we need to aim for.
Okay. That's great advice. Thank you. So let's go on to brain health, especially for women.
So I think we need to look at, when we talk about Alzheimer, dementia, or even migraine for that matter, we're looking at brain inflammation. So inflammation is probably the culprit for 95% of chronic diseases, right? That it is your diabetes, your cancer, your heart disease. So it's brain inflammation, it's pancreas inflammation, it's heart inflammation. So at the end, they're all inflammatory processes. So I always say the name of the game for us is to keep the inflammation at bay. So it's the food that are inflammatory that we want to stay away from. It's the seed oil and the abundance of omega-6 versus omega-3, which are the EPA, DHA via fish. It's stress that can give us inflammation. It's toxin that can give us inflammation. Our beauty product, the air we breathe, the water that we drink. So for me, I always look at everything as decreasing the inflammation in my body with what I'm eating, the activities, and also decreasing my toxic load with my environment. And it's hard, like we're bombarded with being in front of computers all the time, but it's always back of my mind, my behavior, is it contributing to more inflammation, what I'm doing, or is it contributing to reducing the inflammation? So I think, to me, brain health goes with just overall health, and it goes with the inflammatory process, because we're not kind of detached, that the head is separate from the rest of the body, right? So, and now there's research showing that some medication may lead to early development of dementia and so forth. So it's to really do an inventory of all the things that you're doing in the habits, and looking if they're contributing to overall inflammation, hence potentially brain inflammation.
Right. Yeah, it's scary. It really is, because like you saw your mom, and I had three of my aunts who had it, and very upsetting to see someone lose themselves, basically.
Oh yeah, it is very much so. So again, like, is it Was it because they cut all those poor women of their hormones at that time? Is it now that we have so much more toxins? There's just, mold exposure, Lyme disease, EMF, electromagnetic field can affect the blood-brain barrier and protecting the brain. So it is complex. It can be a bit scary, but at the end of the day, we can only do our best and just, do what we can to minimize that toxic load, get out there, move, go in the sun, socialize, do stuff that you like, just that mindset. You don't want to be in fear to move or do anything either, because, oh my God, there's this, oh my God, there's that. Like that 80-20 rule, I think, really applies well, that if 80% of the time you do the right thing, then the other 20 should not have as bad as an impact. And I think if we live in fear, then that's another stress we're adding, and it's not healthy.
Yeah, I believe that social connection is really important for brain health, and of course our diet, and also movement.
Yeah.
To get out and move and exercise is really important. Now, I know you wrote 2 books.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your books?
Yes. So actually, I wrote 6 books, but the main big 2 are Hack Your Health Habits. And it's a 600-page book. It's almost like a Bible. I used to joke, you get one in each hand and you can do bicep curls with them. That one is, oh my God, I've got everything in there. Hormones, detoxification, workouts, everything. But if you think of the name, it's Hack Your Health Habits. So I really try to focus on, okay, you learned something in that chapter. Now, how are you going to integrate it into your life? So each chapter at the end, there's a reflection point, and then I use a kind of a hacking level system, like a level 1, a level 2, a level 3. So 11-1 would be, you read the chapter on toxic load, you realize your deodorant is toxic. Next time you're at the store, you're going to buy a different one. It's easy. It's a swap. You're already putting deodorant. So it's an easy habit to implement. A level 2 could be, you know what, we're eating out too often. I want to meal prep a bit more, once or twice a week, so we're ready. Well, that's a level 2. It requires a little bit more planning. And then a level 3 could be, I don't know, I have 30 pounds that I want to lose. So just knowing that we're not going to address changing our habits the same way, and not setting ourselves up for failure, to think that we can do 10 level 3, habit change in the next month. That's not realistic. So the book is really focusing on self-inventory of all the things people learn, how they're going to implement, and then being realistic when and how it can be implemented. So it's really cool for that. And my second last book, called SmartCuts, Biohack Your Healthspan, cutting edge strategy for performance and vitality, that I co-author with Dr. Paul Sly, is all about short protocol, kind of like the stuff that, I just talked about.
Yeah.
And, knowing that some people are stronger in one area or one pillar of their health, but it's again like short, quick strategies that people can do. So it's very encompassing, as much as the other one is just not as thick and just more protocol based, to kind of cut to the chase. Okay, if I want to achieve this, what do I need to do for that? So yeah, it's been fun. Like I said, I love writing because I'm constantly learning and always wanting to transfer that information to my own patient. And I'm like, well, through book, I can reach more people as well. So not just, well, of course, my patients are benefiting from the books as well, but it's just nice to be able to bring the awareness to other people, because we always, you read a book, it's like, oh, I had no idea about that. And then you go on your own, investigate more on the topic and so forth. So it's just, I love exposing people to things that they may not have even thought about or realized or knew anything about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So how can people find you, Dr. Nathalie?
Well, the books are all on Amazon, and my website, I made it short. So drnat, DRNAT.life. that goes straight to my website, and drnatplaybook.com goes straight to biohacking playbook, 10 biohacks, sort of the information that we were talking about, and it can be downloaded for free as well.
And do you see patients virtually if someone wanted to?
Not really, because scope of practice, I'm in Canada versus in the US. So I do more lifestyle coaching and try to just, guide people of what resources they may have closer to them and closer to home.
Gotcha.
But I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of webinars. I have an online self-paced course.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another thing too that's available. So people want to dig deeper than just, let's say, the books. There's videos, and it's just taking you to the journey of bettering your lifestyle. And again, it can't all be done at once, right?
Right.
Because we want to get some small wins, and we want to see the progress. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure, and then we get discouraged, and then we just have such a huge setback, and it's just not good for the brain and the mind to do this to ourselves, right?
Right. Yeah. So any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with today?
Yeah. So I'd say we have to think we only have one life, and I think we all know this. And the older we get, I think most women, if you're past your 50s or 60, you really start to understand that. So with that in mind, let's not make it more complicated than it has to be, and let's make it fun. Like, I'm all about fun now. Like, not that I don't have to do sometimes stuff that I don't like doing, like the dishes or whatever, but it's just, we need to surround ourselves with more stuff that we enjoy and less of the stuff that is straining us, that it is physically or mentally. So that's my compass almost every day when I plan my days. Like, okay, I need to have some joy in my day. I need to make sure that I stay balanced even with everything that I need to do. And like I said, it doesn't have to be that complicated. I think with social media now, it gives us so much the fear of missing out, that you're not doing this and you're not doing this. Like, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And oftentimes, let's say in one of the books, we talk about our weekly non-negotiable, our daily non-negotiable, or monthly. When I say that to people, you mean I don't have to do everything perfect every day? Hell no, that's impossible, right? And people just go, oh, okay. Right. So if you look at your things you want to do, but you look at it during the week, then you don't have to do everything right in one day, right? So when we say that to people and have them do an inventory of what they're already doing and what they want to do, like I said, the people's shoulder just go, oh, I don't have to do everything perfect, because it's impossible. It's impossible to do it all, right?
And us as women, we put so much pressure on ourselves.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we
and
do.
we need to let that go.
Yeah. But I think it's the beauty of getting older, that wisdom really kicks in, and it's just like, yeah, we do, but we can choose to not do it as much and learn to say no. Like exactly as I was saying, the things that don't bring us joy or satisfaction, it's just sometimes we do things just because we used to do them and not really think about the enjoyment part of it or the necessity of it, right?
Yes, absolutely. This was a great, great topic, a great talk. I love that you came on. I love your energy. It's been fabulous. I learned so much from you today. And I wish you the best of luck in all that you do.
Well, same to you. Thank you for having me on, and best of health to you.
Same to you. Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you all for listening today. I appreciate each and every one of you. If this resonated with you at all, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Also, if you could think of anyone who would benefit from listening to this episode, kindly share it out with them and let them know. If you're not currently subscribed to my channel, please be sure to follow me here. This way you'll know when I drop my next episode. Again, thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until the next time, be well, stay happy, and bye for now. Take good care, everyone.